Bom dia a todos.
Good morning, everyone.
Vamos dar início então ao
We
nosso
will
segundo
get
dia de
started
evento
on our
SBE
second day
25
of
Brasil,
SBE,
ocorrendo aqui na nossa cidade de Juiz de
which is
Fora.
happening here in the city
Hoje a
of
gente
Juiz de
vai começar a
Fora.
nossa
Today we
programação
will start
com a apresentação do
our
professor Luiz
programming with the
Bragança.
keynote from
Ele é
Professor Luis
mestre e
Bragança.
licenciado em
He's
Engenharia
Master
Civil,
in
é professor do
Civil
Departamento de
Engineering.
Engenharia
He's
Civil da
professor of the
Escola de
Department of
Engenharia da
Civil
Universidade do
Engineering
Minho.
from the
É
University of
diretor do
Minho.
programa Doutoral
He's
em
the director
Sustentabilidade do Ambiente
of the
Construído,
doctorate program in
diretor do
sustainability,
mestrado em
director
Construção e
in
Reabilitação
masters in
Sustentáveis
constructions and
e
sustainable
diretor do Laboratório de
rehabilitation,
Energia e
and
Construção
director
Sustentável.
of the Laboratory of
Desenvolve
Sustainable Energy.
atividade
He
científica,
develops
pedagógica e profissional
scientific
nas áreas de
activities in the
sustentabilidade do
areas of
ambiente construído,
sustainability of the built
construção
environment,
sustentável, economia circular e análise do
circular
ciclo de vida,
economy, and life
reabilitação
cycle
sustentável de
analysis.
edifícios, física e tecnologia da construção. Ao longo de sua carreira, coordenou
Throughout
e
his career,
participou
he
de projetos
coordinated
de
and
investigação
participated in
nacionais e
projects,
internacionais,
both
destacando sua
international and
coordenação de
national,
projetos europeus e
and he
ibero-americanos.
got a
E
highlight
agradecendo
in
novamente a
European
sua presença, a sua colaboração,
development.
professor.
I'd like to thank
Fica à
your
vontade.
presence and collaboration.
Muito obrigado.
Thank you very much.
Agora vou falar em inglês.
Now we'll speak in English.
Conferência
We
internacional.
are in an international conference.
Aproveito, antes de começar em inglês, para saudar todos os
I would take the time to
Estou
say hello to
muito
all of you. I'm here
e,
with a lot of joy, and it's a pleasure.
então, já vim ao Brasil.
I have already come to Brazil many times, but it's always a pleasure to be in Brazil, especially in Juiz de Fora.
Now, in English, it is a pleasure
É
to
um
be here.
prazer
I
estar.
thank very much the organizers, in particular Professor Maria Teresa, for organizing this Sustainable Built Environment 25 Brazil. That is the first of the SBE series this year, and it is a pleasure and an honor to be invited to be here and to share my thoughts about what we are doing nowadays. So the title of my keynote is Circular Construction. But I'm not talking about circular buildings or circular, I'm talking about circular economy and the implementation of the principles of circular economy in the built environment. The built environment is defined as the man-made world, not the natural world, but everything that we are building, that we are constructing, is the built environment. It includes not only buildings, but it includes infrastructures, it includes roads, it includes everything that we are building. My thesis is that circular construction, circular economy, is a pillar of a sustainable and resilient built environment. I could say it is a pillar of, or it is a pillar for. Maybe people do not understand very well this nuance, but it is stronger to be a pillar of than to be a pillar for. Anyway, this is the way we see the world nowadays, and this way. I have a short summary here. I will start with the nowadays trends that are the Sustainable Development Goals. Then I will focus on explaining what is circular economy. Then I will try to make the connection between sustainability and circular economy, and at the end, I think we have time. We have 1 hour or something like this. I will try to show what we are doing. When I say what we are doing, I'm not saying what I am doing. I'm saying we, the researchers, we are doing all around the world about this. So, to start with, I would like to recall what everybody already knows, that in 2015, United Nations put in written the principles for the sustainable development, and they call it the Sustainable Development Goals. There are 17 Sustainable Development Goals, and all of them are very well thought and summarize what we were thinking for a long time about sustainable development. The sustainability in the built environment is somehow shaped by these sustainable development goals, and this is a world concept, because it is signed by most of the countries in the world, and no matter if the countries are more developed or less developed or underdevelopment, these are the targets, and we are how to say, pushed to follow these sustainable development goals. It is, at least in Europe, I cannot say if it is the same here in Brazil or not, but every time we are asked to do something, even in European projects, when we are applying to European projects, we have to state what are the sustainable development goals that we are targeting to. So this is something important. I cannot read from here to there, but and I do not recall exactly what was written there, but I can easily point out the principles for the sustainable construction that are minimizing resource consumption, maximize the reuse of resources, use renewable and recyclable resources, protect the natural environment, create a healthy and non-toxic environment, and strive for quality in the creation of the built environment. So this is quite similar to circular economy, but it is not exactly the same. But what I would like to say is that working on circular economy models means working on most of the SDGs, the Sustainable Development Goals. And the main relationships and synergies between circular economy practices and the Sustainable Development goals or targets are these ones: the SDG number 8, decent work and economic growth; SDG number 9, industry, innovation and infrastructure; SDG 11, sustainable cities and communities. That is more obvious for all of us that are related with construction. But not only the responsible consumption and production, climate action, life below underwater, that is something that we do not are so much comfortable with, life on land, and partnerships for the goals. This is very much important because by ourselves, we alone, we cannot do anything. So we need to establish collaborations and partnerships if we want to change anything. So these are the recent trends of circular economy in the built environment. Circular construction hubs, centralized locations for recycling and reusing construction materials, reducing transportation emissions and costs, material passports, so materials or products cadastre systems store information on materials used in buildings to facilitate reuse and recycling, urban mining and deconstruction to recover valuable materials from buildings at the end of life and reintroduce them into the supply chain. The adaptive reuse and reversible design, designing buildings for future flexibility and easy disassembly. So these are the trends that we are aiming to develop further and further to implement circular economy in the built environment. The SDGs and the circular economy, as we could see, are closely interconnected, and integrating the SDGs into urban circular economy indicators for assessment can further guide cities and communities achieving a sustainable, resilient future by optimizing resource utilization and minimizing waste. The potential benefits of the urban circular economy and SDGs include supporting economic growth, social impact and sustainable cities. And aligning actions with the SDGs can help cities achieve global targets related to poverty, eradication, climate change, mitigation, and sustainable consumption and production. So now it is the time to see what circular economy aims at. And why this is important, what the construction sector has to do with the circular economy. So this is easy to understand. If we know more or less our sector, we see that the built environment is responsible for about 50% of all material extraction. So we all are responsible for this 50% of material extraction. 35% of total waste generation in European Union. And buildings are responsible for around 39% of annual CO2 emissions. Here we have the global CO2 emissions, some figures. And we see that the building operations is responsible for about 28%, but the extraction, processing of building materials and construction is responsible for 11%. So 28 plus 11 is this figure that is well known, 39%. Okay, transportation. We all know that we are going from one side to the other with cars and planes and trains and so on, but it is only responsible for 22%. And industry is responsible for 30%, and the others are responsible for 9%. So the built environment, the construction sector is one of the major responsibles for all these bad impacts. So we need to do something about it. Okay, and there are, as in everything in our life, we have several levels of intervention. So we can actuate at a macro level, and we have social aspects that has to be taken care of, exploring circular economies in the country, region, or city, neighborhood, and conurbations. We have the meso level, that is the building level. And we have the micro level, that is the building materials and components and the circular supply chain management. So this is just to have an idea. When we are talking about circular economy, we can talk about the micro level, or we can talk about the buildings level, or we can talk about the city, neighborhoods, a macro level. And now it is the time to clarify why we are calling this circular economy. Maybe most of you have seen the illustrations that are around, so we try to make a circle. That is why it is called a circle, but I think this is more explanative. The linear economy is based on taking resources from Earth, then we transport the resources and we make the products. So to take the resources we need energy. To make the products we need also energy and water. Every industrial product, no matter if it is related with construction or not, to be processed, the raw material to be processed needs at least two things. Energy, no matter if it is electricity or gas or whatever, or fire, and water. So, two major aspects that are scarce, that are resources, and that implies pollution, that implies at the end climate changes. So then we use whatever is the product, and then we throw it away. It is waste. And what we do with this waste, we do not care. We throw it away, and somebody else will take care of this in landfills or whatever, and it is not a good approach. So there is another type of economy that is the so-called recycling economy. So we take the resources, we make the products, we use, and then we, at the end of life, we recycle the products. Again, processing, having the industrial process, supplying energy, supplying water, and we create new products. And at the end, when we cannot recycle anymore, we throw them away. And what I would like to do, and most of us would like to do, is to have this approach, the circular economy. So we take the resources if it is needed, we make the products, we use the products, and then what we do, we reuse. First thing, reuse. Then maybe we need some repair. And if we cannot reuse repairing, we recycle. And then we can make again the products, we can use again, we reuse, when we return it to the factory to remake. So there is no waste here. And it is here, the sentence, the circular economy aims to eliminate waste in the long term, not just in the short term. It builds on the advances achieved in the recycle economy, this kind of economy, whose goal is to maximize the reuse of materials before they are finally discarded, so that there is no waste or pollution, only continual reuse. So this is our ultimate goal. We are a little bit far from this, but we have to try. So, for that, you know, I am from Portugal. Portugal is integrated in the European Union, and the European Union is proud of being the leader of this sustainable thinking, sustainable change, sustainable adaptation. And the European Commission, that is the, let's say, the government body of the European Union, established a circular economy action plan in 2015, then it was revised in 2020, and this is a new concept to make a change from linear to circular. So the end is the start of every product. We are still a little bit far from that, but we have to have ambitious goals. The circular economy is exemplified by some of the European countries. They are not all equal, we are not all equal, but by some European countries is an innovative economic framework, and it is not environmentally beneficial, but also socially impactful, supporting the creation and economic opportunities. So these are the important aspects. Again, showing some differences in the concept of the circular economy and the linear economy. So in the circular economy, we have user-centered research. In linear economy, we have the design in the early stages. So that is the role of the designer. But here it is all the time. Design is a continuous process design. It never ends. In the linear economy, the design happens at the beginning only. The designer's role happens at any point. The designer's role ends when the product is delivered to the market, to the user. This is, in the circular economy, the products are service-based. In the linear economy, the product is a product-based, so there is a product, and so it is it. In circular economy, the long-term service contracts transforming products into services, and in the linear economy, we have one-off sale. The products return to the economy, the products in the linear economy end up in waste, and we have here to think creatively about needs and how they can be met. And in the linear economy, we think only about the economic profit. That's it. We do not care about anything else, the economic profit. So, obviously, this approach is much better, but we have to do something to be possible to follow up this approach. There is one institution in the United States that started to think about circular economy principles some time ago, in 2013. It is the Ellen MacArthur Foundation, and the principles they started to think about are these ones: design for durability and longevity, design for disassembly, use of renewable and or recycled materials, resource efficiency, reuse and refurbishment, recycling and upcycling, closed loop, and of course the SDG 17, collaboration and stakeholder engagement. Okay, so I do not resist to point out this recycling and upcycling. Why? Because most of the time, the easiest way, we have buildings made in concrete, so concrete buildings. What do? We crush the concrete, and we use it as aggregate not to have a structural concrete, but to have some concrete that we use in paving or use in some downcycling products. But this is the opposite. We are trying the upcycling. So not crushing anything or not doing something that reduces the level of functionality, but upcycling, going up. This is something that is important because most of the time we are not able, we do not have the knowledge, we do not have the technology for the upcycling, and we make a downcycling. So, circular economy represents a systematic change that generates business opportunities, creates social and environmental benefits, and builds a resilient economy in the long term on a urban scale. It is a bridge that connects the challenges of cities to the goals of sustainable development. So the circular city, the circular built environment is one that promotes a just transition from the linear economy to one that circulates throughout the urban space across multiple city functions and departments and in collaboration with residents, business and research communities. So, and we can have a look on this, that is how we see how people are seeing the circularity at urban level. And the measures are resource mapping and at urban scale, turning existing infrastructure into material banks, urban mining, materials exchange in urban areas, urban waste management, like the material flow analysis to evaluate waste management alternatives in the context of urban regeneration project, local markets for secondary construction materials, raising local awareness, promoting local community-led construction and repair, investigating passwords for the sustainable use of energy, water and material resources. So now let's see some more details about the circular building. These are the main principles. Design for adaptability, to decelerate the cycle, allowing physical modification, spatial rearrangements, reconfiguration, reuse, and expansion. Design for disassembly. All materials and products used at all levels of building can be easily dismantled and recovered. Design for longevity and durability, reduces demand for primary resources, energy and water, durable product design and robust structures. And we are living in an era of smart things, artificial intelligence and so on, and we can also integrate this selection of smart materials, fits both the biological and technical cycles, and digitalization of information and creation of material passports. This is a little bit extensive, but the idea is to choose materials with minimal environmental footprint and of local origin to reduce transport emissions, create buildings that can be easily modified and reused to adapt to changing needs and extend lifespan, reject, rethink and reduce. This involves discontinuing products that have harmful effects and suggesting alternatives with reduced impacts, enhancing product utilization and minimize the use of harmful products, adopt smarter strategies and reduce virgin materials and energy consumption while improving efficiency, apply strategies such as reuse, repair, refurbishment, remanufacture, and reuse to extend the useful life of products and prevent them from becoming waste. Design buildings with deconstruction in mind, allowing for the recovery and the reuse of materials and components. Optimize the use of energy and water in design and operation of buildings, incorporating energy efficiency practices and water reuse systems. Collaboration between stakeholders in the construction sector is crucial to implement circular economy strategies. it is essential to overcome barriers such as lack of awareness, resistance to change, and limited market demand for circular products and services. Now I would like to show this maybe what I have said so far maybe seems to be very much theoretical, but I believe always that we can learn from examples. So this is a bridge, an overpass, a railway overpass. It was built 30 or about 40 years ago. It is over a highway, very important highway, the most important highway we have in Portugal that connects the major cities, Lisbon and Porto. And it was built 40 years ago, or even a little bit more. And the number of cars that is circulating in the highway is getting bigger and bigger, so it was needed to enlarge the highway. But the bridge was there and the trains were passing through, and it would be a disruption in the railway system if they demolish this bridge and they build another. That is usually what they do when they are enlarging the highway, or the highways, not only there in Portugal, but in other places. So the solution for this, in this case, was very clever. So instead of building a new bridge, they did simply this. So you see there is a pillar here, another pillar here. This was the previous design. And what was made was to remove this pillar and build another, to excavate a little bit more soil in one side and in the other side. And this on this side it was done the same thing. Of course, this was to be also followed by a reinforcement of the supporting structures, big structure on this side, on the left side, and on the right side. So the result is that they built this massive support to support the tray that was functional, perfectly functional, but the support of the train was too narrow. So now it is this massive structure that supports the train. So this is one simple example that something can be easily reused instead of being demolished and built again, something similar. I like very much this example. It is not so new, it is from 2006, but it applies today, it will be applied tomorrow, it will be applied all the time. Another example, this is the so-called Bullitt Center in Seattle. It is designed by Miller-Howe Partnership. It has 4,600 square meters. It is the greenest commercial building in the world. The objective is to design to have a 250-year lifetime. Produces almost 30% more energy than it needs. The solution was the long-term design of the building, lasting for 250 years, rainwater harvesting and ultraviolet light purification system. Its products do not contain any toxic chemicals. It is located in Seattle, state of Washington, in the United States. And here are some pictures of the materials that are used. It is not so much different from the usual buildings, but the concept is different because it is planned to last for 250 years, not for the next 30 years or 25 years. Another example that I like very much is the Shun ship. This was from 2021. This is in Amsterdam, and it is a floating city, a floating neighborhood. So there was a channel that was not used anymore, and so in the Netherlands they have very high population density, and so they have always to find places where building and where to accommodate people. The objective is to be adaptable to climate change and promotes sustainability, sustainable living practices. The project aims to revitalize the disused canal, maximize the use of environmental energy and water, recycle nutrients and minimize waste. The solution was this. Some of the houseboats were refurbished and designed with a focus on sustainability and energy efficiency. Recycled materials were used. Resource management systems such as water and energy were implemented. So this is also another example of the adoption of the circular economy principles. And as you can see, this looks like a regular neighborhood, a Dutch neighborhood, using the channel, the canals to live on. Another example is the bio building Gonsi Socrates. This is in Barcelona, neighborhood near Barcelona in Spain. It is recognized as the first circular building in Spain. It has 6,200 square meters distributed over 4 floors. This was built with cycle-friendly materials, free of harmful substances. There is a cradle-to-cradle certified materials. BIM was used, material passports, clean and sustainable energies. The solution is a workplace where the health, well-being and comfort of employees are paramount, with the added objective of generating a positive impact on the environment. So once again, this is not so strange, so different, but the difference is the way it was thought, it was designed. And now, this is for the ones that like football. This is also interesting, interesting landmark in circular economy. It is a stadium. It was built for the World Cup 2022. It was designed by a Spanish architectural firm, Fenwick. Iribarren, 450 square meters. It has a capacity for 4,000 spectators. It is to be demountable, transportable, and reinstallable in any city in the world after the Qatar 2022 World Cup. It is a brilliant idea, of course, but it is not good for the current business, because if it is transported and mounted everywhere, the ones that are in the new World Cup location, they will not build it. It's only mount it again. Seeks to achieve 5-star gold sustainability assessment system certification. The solution is prefabricated, demountable, modular, and transportable. The study is located in Doha, West Bay, close to the sea, and this location close to the sea provides a natural cool breeze that helps to lighten the load of the cooling systems. You know, Qatar is very, very hot, and so the sea breeze minimizes this so hot temperature. So again, it looks like a normal stadium, and the main issues are that it is prefabricated, demountable, and transportable. Okay, so it looks that everything is running smoothly and we are evolving, and we are, but there are still challenges, important challenges. The first is the lack of awareness and understanding. Many stakeholders in the construction sector are unfamiliar with the principles of circular economy and are resistant to change. This lack of awareness can hinder the adoption of circular practices. There is a limited market demand for circular products and services. So demand for circular products and services is still limited, making it difficult for companies to invest in circular economy strategies. So if we want to put in practice this, we have to have a market. And this does not grow from one day to another. We need to create it. There are some regulatory barriers. So the existing regulations and standards do not widely promote circular economy practices in the construction industry, which creates barriers to the implementation by not fully supporting or incentivizing circular economy practices. And another problem in our sector, the construction sector, is that we have a fragmented value chain. The construction sector involves multiple stakeholders, including designers, contractors, suppliers, and clients, leading to fragmented value chains and coordination problems in the implementation of circular economy principles. This is one of the major characteristics of our sector. For instance, the automotive sector is completely different. There are only few brands. So, and if the brands, I do not dare to say the names of the brands because I can miss some important brands that you like, but if the producers join together and make a decision, then all the value chain depending on these brands, they will follow the guidelines of the major brands. And the others, the concurrent brands, will do the same because it is the trend. Here in construction, no, we have millions of small and medium enterprises, and all of those they are independent, and they do as they always did because they do not know how to do differently. So the benefits, nevertheless, the challenges, the difficult challenges, the benefits is the resource efficiency and waste reduction, cost savings, environmental benefits, innovations and job creation, enhance reputation and create differentiation in the marketplace. So these are no matter if we can see this in this perspective or other perspectives, these are the benefits of the circular economy implementation. Now, about the sustainability and the circularity, I'd like to bring a point that is the assessment. We can say that something is very sustainable, very circular. We can say whatever we want. But what matters is if it really is according to the principles. And so we are developing these assessment methods. Sustainability assessment methods provide the opportunities for the development and management of sustainable projects and buildings based on assessment of environmental pressure as well as functional, social and economic aspects. Now that we have the sustainable development goals and every government is pushing for the implementation of these sustainable development goals, every project has to be somehow evaluated, and all the projects aim for greater compatibility between the artificial and natural environments without compromising the functional requirements of buildings and their associated costs. So, there are several assessment methods for sustainability, for buildings and for urban areas. The sustainability assessment methods can help identifying these alarming environmental degradation, vulnerabilities related to the environment, and as well as the social economic inadequacies. And there are, the most well-known is BREEAM, LEED, BREEAM, CASB in Japan, Green Building Index, SBE tool and SN tool that we, SBE, are responsible for, and we promote it. Most of these tools are LCA, Life Cycle Assessment based tools, assessment systems, technical guidelines, assessment frameworks, checklists, certificates, and so on. So our international initiative, SBE, International Initiative for a Sustainable Built Environment, developed two important sustainability assessment methods and tools that they are open and they are adaptable for most of the countries. One is the SB tool for buildings, and the other is the SN tool. SB means sustainable building. SN means sustainable neighborhood. That is for neighborhoods. This SBE methodology helps to develop sustainable projects by defining a list of objectives that are easily understood by all those involved in construction process, as well as being compatible with national or regional construction technologies and contexts. So, because it is a framework, it is not, it is based on the performance, it is not based on requirements, specific requirements. And as it is based on the performance, it can be adapted to everywhere where there are some specific requirements, but the evaluation, the assessment can be carried out against the performance criteria. So we did it, we adapted it to Portugal, we adapted it to the SB tool for homes, the SB tool H, and we adapted it also for urban areas, we call it SB tool U. And these adaptations were carried out by us, by the SBE Portugal Association and the Building Physics and Construction Laboratory at the University of Minho. So now we are trying to implement and assess circularity within SB tool, SN tool, and we are also following what is being done in other contexts. So, for instance, I have already mentioned the Ellen MacArthur Foundation, and they propose the so-called Resolve. It is a framework that proposes to identify strategies with the potential to increase circularity. The word resolve is the acronym, stands for regenerate, share, optimize, loop, virtualize, and exchange. So these are the principles that were raised and developed by the researchers all over around the world, and the Ellen MacArthur Foundation proposed this approach. There are other approaches. For instance, Madaster is an online platform creating digital material passports for buildings, tracks material flows and the residual value. A project where we participated at the EU project, very big, BAMB, Building as Material Banks. It is a EU Horizon 2020 project aiming to enable building as material repositories and material banks. And now we have the framework proposed by the European Commission that is called Levels, written exactly like this, level between brackets and S, levels, because there are several levels, several layers. That is a voluntary reporting framework focusing on sustainable building performance, including circularity aspects. Here we have a view of the levels framework. There are some thematic areas like resource use and environmental performance, health and comfort, cost, value and risks. And then inside each thematic areas there are some macro objectives: greenhouse gas emissions along buildings life cycle, resource efficient and circular material life cycles, efficient use of water resources, healthy and comfortable spaces, adaptation and resilience to climate change, optimized life cycle. And then in each of these macro objectives, there are some indicators. Here in green, darker green and lighter green, I marked the ones that are more related with circular economy. And the aim now, levels is not yet fully in practice, is being tested, some examples are being created, sponsored by European Union, but the idea now is to develop a little bit further all these objectives and indicators that are already in the levels framework. So this comes to what we are aiming to do, that is to develop tools for digitizing the construction, having in mind that our target is sustainability, sustainable buildings, sustainable neighborhoods, and circularity is one of the pillars that can contribute to sustainability. So what we do is to connect the new tools like BIM, building information modeling, as you know, and we try to connect it with the construction sustainability to answer to the demand for a more sustainable, efficient and environmental friendly buildings and construction. And because our industry, the architecture, engineering and construction, needs to efficiently manage increasingly complex projects. The projects are becoming complex, more and more complex. So BIM is emerging as a tool. BIM is not the end point. BIM is just a tool. And we can use the tools. We can make good use of tools and we can make bad use of tools, like everything else. So BIM can help in visualization, operation, documentation, management, logistics, cost planning, demolition and construction, the construction, maintenance and others. It is a set of principles, processes and technologies that create a working methodology capable of managing a project in a digital format throughout the life cycle of a construction project. So this scheme here illustrates how our today the relationship between the several partial projects inside a big project. So the connections are not organized. So the BIM helps to create a collaborative space, a collaborative process where everything is centralized and there is no loss of information. That is the most important, because when we are communicating side by side, sometimes we forget to inform the others, and the information they have is previous information, not the updated information. And with BIM, we can centralize all the information, and everybody is fully aware of what is going on, and the last update of the several parts of the project. And we are now combining BIM with sustainability, which makes possible to draw an efficient proposal for new forms of architecture and engineering, preserving the environment and its various ecosystems. So it makes possible to carry out BIM is helping us to make analysis on building orientation and design, solar and artificial light analysis, water use reduction, renewable energy production, energy performance analysis, life cycle analysis, waste estimation and management. So it helps also for the detection of conflicts, interferences and collisions, sequencing and planning of construction, synchronized design construction site and the location, precise extraction of quantities, reuse of components and objects, prefabrication, fast and accurate waste estimation, estimation and optimization of transport needs, scheduled maintenance and space or asset management. So these are the main benefits that we can identify using BIM and trying to use it with sustainability. What we did so far was to adapt our SB tool, our sustainability assessment method for buildings, to BIM. This is one example. It is our own example, but there are others that are doing the same. So, first thing we have to have is the so-called build model of the building. We're talking about buildings, so the building has to have a building model. If it does not have a building model, BIM model, we cannot do anything, or we can create that model. That is another alternative. So we have to provide the BIM model of the building with our SB tool BIM template. So the model has to know what we want. And it is the so-called SB tool BIM template. Then, informing the model that what we want, we can go through the characterization. But this needs also some inputs, the user inputs and a material library that has to be built. But BIM can store this information and can use it later on. Then we can, with the information we have provided so far, we can apply the SB tool BIM, and for this we have to input the checklist for the application, and then we click in a button and we have the sustainability assessment. It is not straightforward yet. it is not straightforward. I must confess, it is not straightforward. It requires a human intervention to create these models, but at the end, we can push a button and we have the result. If we do not implement this model, if there is a change in the project, we need to start from the very beginning. But using this BIM approach, we just have to change the user inputs, and then everything runs automatically. So these are some pictures of the inputs to the model, the inputs to the application, and then the evaluation. Our SB tool, our Portuguese SB tool, has 25 indicators. We have succeeded to implement the BIM in 21 indicators that are already integrated, and there are some more indicators that require additional software. So it is still ongoing, not finalized. The benefit for the designers of integrating BIM in projects using sustainability assessment methods, the articulation of sustainability assessment with other design disciplines, improving information sharing, access to the sustainability level of buildings from earliest stages of the projects, support for decision making by introducing and comparing sustainable measures with fewer resources in a shorter space of time, increase sustainability of buildings, and reduce the environmental impacts of buildings. So these are the main benefits we can see from automatizing these assessment methods. But as well as before, there are challenges. The challenges are these ones. Provide the model with the needed information, include information that cannot be understood in the model, because there is always information that the model cannot understand, and we have to find ways of interact with the model, save the data entered in the application from previous simulations, comply with all criteria and details required for the assessment, specific analysis that require additional software, replication of other software versions, develop a simple and intuitive tool, ensure that the applications is not fooled, that we cannot cheat the application and have a good result without being really good, the project, and present the tool and results in the Revit environment. Revit is the tool that we were using, and we think it is the most adequate tool for this purpose, sustainable assessment. Now, the BIM models are capable of storing different types of information throughout the building's life cycle. They are therefore important tools for implementing the circular economy. This is what we are aiming now. The reuse of building elements requires that these products and materials to be inventoried, and using building models is possible to assess this information, determine action plans and potential for dismantling and reusing, promoting circularity in buildings. I like this picture because it, in brief, it explains everything, almost. We have this circle that is sustainability. Sustainability is everything. And we have circular economy. Circular economy is not coinciding with sustainability because many circular economy solutions are not sustainable. So what we want is to combine circular economy with sustainability. And we have here a small circle that is the BIM, the tool. And here in the intersection of these three circles, we can see that if we make the intersection between sustainability and circular economy, we have material passports, circularity approach based on the sustainability tripod, the environmental impacts of circularity measures. If we intercept the circular economy with BEAM, we have material passports, real-time evaluation in design phase, evaluation of circular design options, optimized exchanges. And if we make the interception of sustainability with BEAM, we have the so-called BEAM life cycle analysis or assessment, and we can have automatic sustainability assessment. And what we are targeting to is the interception of these three circles. That is the automation of the integrated approach to circularity, complementing the sustainability assessment. This is the point, and this is the most up-to-date development in this area of sustainability, circular economy, digital tools like BEAM. And this does not fall from the sky. We have to produce research, we have to study, we have to implement this by ourselves and exchange opinions with others in such a way that we can have a common approach. So the trends in BEAM for circular construction is the BEAM 6D, sustainability integration of environmental impact data, carbon footprint, energy use into BEAM models. The BEAM 7D, facility management, life cycle management post-construction, supports the reuse, the maintenance and deconstruction, and of course the IoT integration, the Internet of Things integration, smart sensors tracking material usage and performance in real time, boosting circularity. Now, so far we were talking about building sustainability or sustainability of buildings, but this is, we can expand these thoughts at the neighborhood or the city level. And there is also an emerging tool that is, it is not yet a tool, it is more like a framework, that is the city information modeling. So far we were talking about BIM, building information modeling, but now we are talking about city information modeling. That is analogous to BIM, but applied at urban scale. And is emerging as a smart city model that encompasses intelligent building and infrastructure models. The integration of geometric and semantic model characterize the SIM concept. In this way, information about the building is stored using BIM, and information external to the buildings is stored using geographic information systems, the so-called GIS. And the urban information models can be used to store data and geometry of objects, like, for instance, the shape of a wall, and attach semantic data to these geometries, like, for instance, the type of the wall material. And these models thus serve as databases and visual representations of a city or urban area. The three-dimensional models of buildings and urban spaces help to achieve urban sustainability, and in this way, the digitizing the built environments is extremely important for urban circularity. Understanding that buildings can act as material banks, and above all, having its information modeled in is one of the necessary steps for applying circular economy concepts at the city level, at the neighborhood level. From the perspective of circular economy, the SIM model is capable of providing information on a urban scale. BIM models can be used to extract building data, like material, passports, dismantling plans, and so on. Information on infrastructures topography can be accessed from the GIS platforms. This way, this SIM, this City Information Model, can assess the infrastructure for sharing resources such as cars, bicycles, and so on. And similarly, the model can indicate materials or components of a building to be reused. The advantages from what we can see and what we have studied, the advantages of BIM and SIM is to support for decision making, a greater power to analyze, greater access to and sharing information, reduction of errors, storage of information, simpler certification, automatic budgets, bills of quantities and construction details, project modifications updated automatically, management of construction and demolition waste and municipal waste, potential assessment of circularity, transformability, adaptability, reduced use of resources, mapping materials and quantities, improving quality and comfort of building environment, decreased environment impacts, support the management operation of buildings and urban areas. The challenges, so summarized here, there are a shortage of platforms and tools capable of assessing the sustainability of the built environment. The existing software need to take more sustainability aspects into account. The need to use different BIM tools and GIS information to assess sustainability, stakeholder awareness of sustainable issues, difficulties in adopting new methodologies in companies and local councils, resistance to changing traditional working methods due to lack of knowledge. High investment is needed in software and training. This is quite important. Loss of productivity during the adaptation phase. Another important aspect is the interoperability restrictions between different software. There are some softwares and they do not talk with each other. There is no interoperability. And lack of standardization, because if we had standardization about these topics, we could have sorted out this aspect of interoperability. So, conclusions. Our industry, architectural, engineering, and construction industry, is increasingly involving BIM, and this will have significant impacts on improving building sustainability and project efficiency. There are still limitations in using BIM for building sustainability as SIM for urban sustainability. There is a need to develop software and formats for sharing information, as well as to create common procedures, methods, and standards to support project teams in carrying out sustainability analysis. However, what we expect is that this is the future. It is expected that the use of BIM will increase and that it will become an essential tool for designing more sustainable buildings. And similarly, the use of SIM brings enormous benefits for urban planning and management, helping in the process of transforming cities by making them smarter, more resilient, and more sustainable. So this is what we envision to be the near future. The near future, not the future in 10 years, but the near future. In some countries, like the UK, BIM is already mandatory to be used. But we are not all at the same stage, so this will come mandatory shortly. Now, these were the conclusions, and this is the conclusion of the conclusions. As you recall, I am talking about circular economy. But not everything that is circular is truly sustainable. I wanted to say this again because maybe people mix up these two concepts. They are similar, but they are different. Circular strategies play a vital role in reducing waste, conserving resources, and rethinking production. But sustainability demands a broader systemic vision grounded in the environmental integrity, social equity, and long-term economic balance. This is just to recall, circularity is not the destination. It is a pathway, a way through. A pathway towards ethical, cultural, and structural transition, making circular construction a true pillar of a sustainable and resilient built environment. So this is, as I said at the beginning, this is my thesis. This is what I try to demonstrate with this presentation. It is a pathway. It is a contribution. But our target is sustainability, the overall sustainability. That is why I started with the Sustainable Development Goals, because that is our common target as world citizens. Well, and now to finalize, all that I have said here is published in books, Springer books. We are running cost action. The name of the cost action is implementation of circular economy in the built environment. This is the first book we published. It is open access. Open access means that everybody can download and read whatever without asking permission to no one. And we created a book that is creating a roadmap towards circularity in the built environment. This was our first production. Then later on, circular economy design and management in the built environment, a critical review of the state of art. And this we organized a midterm conference last year, and we published the contributions for that midterm conference that is also available in open access. So this is it. Thank you very much for your attention. I hope I could explain what are the trends, nowadays trends. If you have any questions, comments, please ask. I'm here. The coffee break. The coffee break is in some minutes, but anyway, I think we can have some minutes to discuss whatever is needed to discuss. Thank you.
Muito obrigada, professor. Perguntas, dúvidas? Podem ser em português, não
Doubts.
podem, professor?
It could be in Portuguese.
Podem ser em português.
They can be in Portuguese.
O senhor falou muito sobre a parte de reciclagem,
You talk so much about recycling and upcycling, especially in concrete, that we take it and transform it into a lower product. Thinking about metal structures, if you think about a warehouse, doing all the dismantling, and even pick up a piece and reuse, I would like to know in this part of concrete, how can you upcycle the concrete? Is there any study? What's the research
No.
in this area?
To be honest, no.
To be, pra
But
ser honesto,
we are not
não.
giving up.
Mas não estamos desistindo.
Because
Pois,
so far what we do is to crush
até agora
the
o que
concrete
fazemos é
and use it as,
destruir o
as an aggregate
concreto, fazer
to
como
make
agregado.
a new concrete that is not structural concrete, so it can be used with other purposes. But before thinking about this conventional concrete that we are using nowadays, maybe we should start thinking in a different concrete with less incorporated cement. As some of you have already developed some studies replacing cement by other cementitious products that do not have so much carbon embodied, carbon. So maybe rethinking the use of the concrete is the first step, because so far we didn't find yet any solution to reuse the existing concrete structures, as you said very well, with steel structures, wooden structures as well. It is much easier. We can cut and we can use the same piece, the same beam, the same column, but in other uses. But with concrete, it is more difficult. We are developing connectors to cut and doing something similar like that bridge that I showed in first place. But it is not yet fully developed. Some Turkish colleagues that are also participating in this cost action that I am sharing, they are developing these connectors. Turkey is a seismic country, and they had a devastating earthquake 2 years ago, or do you recall, Greg? 3 years ago. It was not the whole country, because Turkey is a big country, and they have lots of damaged structures. And now they are trying to develop some connectors to use or to trying to reuse those damaged structures. But it is not yet in the market. It is still at the research level. Yeah, but this is new. We have to develop. We have to study. We have to try. Otherwise, if we do not try, we say it is impossible. Don't worry. Let's crush it and use it as aggregate.
Eu queria fazer uma pergunta.
I would like to ask a question.
A gente passou do modelo
We went from the linear model to circular model,
o problema real,
but the
seria
real problem
economia não circular.
wouldn't be a non-circular
Eu
economy,
vejo, né,
because
problema
the
bem
way I
complexo,
see is a much more
porque
complex
você pega
problem
raciocínio, né?
than
Tanto é que no modelo
picking
linear,
up a
tem
thought.
algumas restrições, né, de você
In the linear model, you have a
reservar,
restriction
né, o resíduo.
to
Eu acredito
zeroing
que
waste.
no circular ainda
In a
possa existir
circular model, there
mínimos
might be
resíduos, né? E o modelo não
minimal
linear
wastes,
seria algo muito mais
and we can
abstrato e completo,
enumerate
complexo,
that it might be a more
você
complex
deveria
and
zelar. Outra
abstract
questão,
that you should
o
zero.
SB2,
Another question,
ele não seria,
SB2,
assim, será mais eficiente
wouldn't it be more
quando se colocar
effective
inteligência artificial,
when you
não
add
só inteligência
AI,
artificial
but not
trabalhando
just
só,
AI
mas
working
junto
alone,
tá com
but
o
alongside
operador do software.
the user,
Porque a complexidade do problema,
because the
né,
complexity of the
a
problem,
ferramenta, ela tem que ter banco
the
de
tool
dados
must need the giant
aí,
database.
sempre que você tem restrição de
And
banco de dados,
whenever
você vai
you
ter
have a
limitação
database
na
restriction,
ferramenta.
you have a
Então, eu
limitation in
acredito
the
que o
tool.
SB2,
So I
a
believe
proposta
that
inicial,
the
né,
initial
nessa
idea of
linha, né,
SB2
proposta tem que
in
ser
this
realmente começar de algo mais
proposition
elementar.
is to start
Mais
at
difícil,
something
mas
more
teria que
elementary,
ter coisa
but
mais
the end
complexa.
product we need to have
E a
something
outra
more
questão,
complex.
que eu queria
And
levantar
another question that I
a
would
gente
like to
trabalha
raise,
muito sobre o mundo físico, né? As
we
coisas,
work
materiais,
a lot with the physical world,
objetos,
materials,
equipamentos.
objects,
A
equipment.
outra questão seria a questão
The other
humana, né?
question would
Porque
be the
eu não
human
acredito que
side,
a questão
because I
da
do not believe
sustentabilidade ela será
that the
resolvida
sustainable
apenas no modelo
idea
físico, né?
live
Qualquer
only
modelo
in the
físico
physical
completo.
model.
As pessoas, né? As questões sociais,
People,
as questões
social
de como
questions,
o humano
and
interage
how the
tem que
human
ser
being
colocado no
interacts
modelo. Então,
must
nesse
be added
contexto,
to the
eu
model.
não consegui
I
visualizar
couldn't
como as questões
visualize
humanas
how the
elas interagem.
human
Por isso,
questions would
eu
work in the
acredito,
model.
né, que o modelo
That's
de
why I believe
sustentabilidade
that the
ele não é uma faculdade de
sustainability
engenharia,
model
de arquitetura,
is not
né,
an
mas
architecture or
sim de
engineering
todo o
university.
centro
It's not
acadêmico.
just
Então,
from an
acredito
engineering
que
architecture
cada
university,
área
but
do
it's from all
conhecimento
of them.
humano, ela tem
Each
uma
area of
função
the human
para
knowledge has a
resolver a
function
questão da
in
sustentabilidade,
order to solve the
principalmente
problem of
ciências sociais, que ela
sustainability,
nunca
especially
é
social
considerada
sciences, because it is
nesses
never
modelos, né? Pelo menos
considered
que eu tenho
in those models, at least that I have seen.
Thank you very much
Muito
for
obrigado.
your comments and your statements. I fully agree. And instead of starting answering on this, I start answering on this, the integration of social sciences. Indeed, this is a conference about sustainability, about sustainability in the built environment. Most of us are engineers, architects. I don't know if there is anybody here from social sciences, but most probably there is not. And we, engineers and architects, we are educated people. We are knowing that the technical issues do not solve all the problems in the world, but we know that, but we are not specialized in communicating with the common public, the common audience. So for that we need the help of the people that know how to communicate, know how to use the tambourines that Greg Foliant mentioned yesterday. He was mentioning the stick, that is the regulation. He was mentioning the carrots that are the incentives, the subsidies, and he was mentioning the tambourines. And the tambourines are very much important for this social integration, because people need to know, the common people need to know about this, and we need to disseminate the knowledge. That we have the knowledge, we need to disseminate the knowledge, but we do not, we are not capable of saying the words that are sound to the common people. We talk about models, we talk about energy, and we talk about how to technical solutions to minimize this, to minimize that, to maximize whatever, but we talk to each other. We do not talk to the common people. So nowadays, in Europe, we have realized that problem. What are we doing? Because European Union is subsidizing, is financing research projects on these topics, and what they demand is that social sciences and humanities are integrated in the consortia of these projects that are to be financed. So this is the way we are doing this in Europe, because otherwise we are talking, we are trying to convert the already converted ones. That is something not so much efficient, because what we need is to convert the the non-believers. That is, so I fully agree with your comment. Regarding this linear economy, recycling economy, and circular economy, I have to agree with you as well, because even in a circular economy system, at a certain point, we cannot use the end-of-life products anymore. It is not possible. So we have to do something, and we have to treat that waste that has to be deposited in a landfill or something. But the idea is that we do not have waste at all. That the waste is always used, and we have to find ways of using the waste as the byproduct, as a product for another purpose, even if it is in the same sector, even if it is in construction, even if it is in another sector of activity, in another industrial sector. And regarding the second comment, I'm sorry, I do not recall anymore. Can you repeat?
Até eu esqueci pouco.
Even I forgot a little bit. O uso da AI.
AI,
Thank you.
AI, I like.
Na SBE com...
Yeah. AI is brand new. We started this development before AI was common. Or let's say not before it was common, before it was open to the general public. Because now everybody can have access to AI. And I like it. Yes. But what we do with AI is very little. We ask questions, like we ask questions to ChatGPT, like we were asking questions to Google, and it comes with an answer. But sometimes this AI is leading or is misleading us. So we need to have the knowledge, the internal knowledge, how to better use AI. It can be tremendous helpful, and we will do it, we will integrate it, but we need to study more, we need to learn how it works internally. Because as far as I know, and Greg will comment, maybe he knows more, and maybe he has another perspective as well. But from what I know, the nowadays AI does not generate knowledge, does not create knowledge. The ones that create knowledge is us, the people. And we provide the information to this AI software. They store it in databases, and they use it with other people. So we provide them information, they store it, they help us with answering something, but they store it. And when another person is asking something similar, they will use some of the information that we have provided, integrated or not integrated, or even disintegrated, or even wrong information, because there are already experiences with AI that they provide the references. We are drafting papers, and we are looking for references that says this or says that or whatever. And sometimes there are non-existing references that pop up. and we go to check, and the reference does not exist. It was not published yet. So it is a little bit strange. So what I think is that we have to understand, we have to learn, and we have to code. We have to write codes adequate for this SB tool or another assessment tool. Because if the codes are not yet tested and checked, we risk to go in wrong pathways. So I will incentivize my PhD students, doctors, PhD, master students, and people that are working with me to work with AI, but always with critical judgment, not believing everything, checking. We have to check everything that comes out of AI. This is my opinion for the moment. In 1 year, maybe I have changed, but for the moment, it is my opinion.
I know it's coffee time.
Eu sei que é a hora do
Just short comments. We can discuss this over coffee on the 3 points. The first point on circularity and the things that he presented. There are only very few examples where you can do a complete closed loop. Very, very few. There will always be a kind of input for something new, like virgin raw material, and there will always be something even that would come out. And you can use them, as you say. But I think the main thing is looking at loops of nest level. At the very highest level, of course, is the planet. So you can circulate everything in the planet. But at the types of projects, you'd always have some new material input and some external waste. But this is the ideal, as he was saying. Yeah. And the second point on the use of AI and simplicity and complexity, yes, the concept looks simple, the reality may be more complex. Some technicalities may be complex, but when you look at the broader issues of economy and social aspect and business models, it does become more complex. And then you talk about possible use of AI. I agree with him. In general, AI is a field of study. The issue is what method for what purpose. That's the main important thing. And the basic thing is understanding the flow and the logic. And that's where our knowledge comes in, the expertise. After that, we find opportunities where specific types of methods of machine learning or artificial intelligence as a method, as a study, rather than a general statement. For example, the things that as people most associate AI is large language models. It's a very specific type. Yeah, and that's subject to hallucinations and all kinds of problems. It's not appropriate for other different purposes. We use different machine learning techniques if we're just scrolling through data and finding out other things. But it doesn't generate. You have to rely on human knowledge to make those and test the things that comes out. So the point is know the logic of the whole process. Whatever level you're looking at, material, product, to a system, to cities, to countries, understand the mechanics, the dynamics of the items in play, and find out only the appropriate parts where these kinds of technology can be useful as saying, as opposed to a general statement of just using AI, because we need the knowledge, logic behind all these things. Finally, on the social aspects, I think we all understood that. That's why the SB tool was originally GB tool in the 1990s and early 2000, because it was green building. We changed it very quickly to sustainable building because sustainability has at least 3 components or dimensions that we already discussed: environmental, social, and economic. And as I presented yesterday, even beyond the triple bottom line, yes? So in Europe, they used the simple terminology 10 years ago of blue buildings as opposed to green buildings to just highlight that it's green plus people. the social aspect. So you still sometimes hear about blue buildings or blue economy, I think. So it's all understood. And in fact, 20 years ago, life cycle assessment has developed the social LCA, which is now a standard, among other things, and a more comprehensive approach to that. But there are other approaches by which we apply social impacts, both in the input, in the management, but also in the output, in the level of influence or impact to them. Yeah. There are different techniques that we can discuss, and not covered, but yeah, lots of things happening in that area as well.
Obrigada. Creio que temos mais perguntas,
I
né?
believe
O
we
tema
have
é de extremo
more
interesse
questions.
nosso. Peço que a gente
It's a
continue
very
as
important
nossas
theme.
discussões agora
I wish we
junto ao coffee break.
continue our discussions
Devido
during
ao
coffee
horário
break
avançado.
due to
E
time.
agradecer novamente
I would
ao
like to
professor
thank
Luiz Bragança,
Professor
em nome
Luis
da
Bragança in the
pela
name
sua
of the
participação.
Muito
organization
obrigado.
committee.
Agradecemos.
Thank you.
É um pequeno presente.
It's a small gift.
Eu peço desculpa
I
por me ter
apologize
alargado um pouco mais do que
for extending a little bit
mas
more,
estes assuntos são fascinantes.
but
Isto é
these
uma
topics
paixão.
are fascinating. This is a
E-
passion.
Bom, agora temos 5 minutos para o
Now
coffee
we
break.
have 5 minutes for coffee break.
Com certeza.
Eu acho que não vão ser 5 minutos.
I don't
mas
think it will be 5 minutes, but
Convido a todos agora
I
que a gente
invite
se
you
reúna no
all,
coffee break
so we
e
meet during coffee break,
retornamos aqui para continuar
and we return to
a nossa
continue
próxima keynote.
our next keynote. Good morning. We are going to start the presentation of Professor Rosana. She will present about solid waste advancements and challenges in the University of Juiz de Fora. Professor Rosana is graduated in chemistry. She has a master's in chemistry, analytical chemistry by the University of São Paulo, a doctorate in chemistry, analytical chemistry, doctorate, postdoctorate by the University of São Paulo, and a postdoctorate in the University of Bradford. She's currently professor at the University of Juiz de Fora and director of sustainability and patrimony.
Thank you. I would like to
Eu gostaria de agradecer a Teresa e os organizadores
to invite us for this conference, and also I would like to apologize because my speech will be in Portuguese. In my defense, when I talk about my work, I speak with my heart. Unfortunately, my heart speaks Portuguese, and so. Eu vou falar então pouco. Pode passar. Sobre o trabalho que nós fazemos na sustentabilidade.
We have been doing in sustainability here in the university.
Pode passar. Nós estamos assim celebrando 10
We are celebrating 10 years of the work in sustainability here in the university. I believe that us, as those institutions of teaching and public agencies, we have a difficulty of infrastructure to work with sustainability as a whole, because it takes many areas, many interfaces, and we can't always have a structure that's capable of attending all needs. So we started in 2015 due to an extreme need to do proper treating of solid wastes. We started with chemical wastes that should be collected and taken the necessary disposal. In 2017, we started to systematize health waste. And also, we had a deal with associations of collectors for the destination of the material. In 2021, as we didn't have a lot of service, the university decided to integrate the patrimony of the university along with the directory of sustainability. This was an impact to us. I don't know if people have the dimension. We are talking about the patrimony, mobile and immobile, cultural of the university. And the whole area of stock and post-purchase is associated to sustainability nowadays. At first, it was scary, but then we understood there was a big interface. It was necessary that the patrimony was taken care of and looked at with sustainability eyes, that nowadays we were able to create an interface and we can, for example, control all the movement of the assets in the university, control, in a way, the purchases, the dismantle when the asset is not useful anymore to us. We can optimize the purchase of consumables, reducing the number of items, and trying to do something slower. This integration is something that seemed incompatible, but it ended up helping in this control that was necessary. Last year, we had a change in the rectory. We ended up becoming the directory of sustainability and patrimony, linked directly to the rectory. So this conversation is closer. And the idea is to reinforce the importance of having this strategic area inside of the university. We are moving towards a sustainability policy inside of the university. And we expect to be able to do this in a short period of time. Our mission, our principle, and our commitment in attempting to be sustainable is linked to this definition of sustainability. Actually, sustainability, we have to think as in a preservation of life in all of its aspects, both in nature, people, the financial part. This is a very good definition that to me is perfect. So we can use what we need, but we also have to think that we need to preserve and take care, and so that it meets the needs of future generations. Because nowadays we live the present a lot. People think that putting trash on the street is solving the problem, as if it is outside of our homes, as it is outside of our cities, without a lot of worries. So this is, to me, an important definition and a necessary one. Our work in the directory is still a very operational work, even though we are developing to a policy, to bigger issues, and a more transitionary in the university. We still have to do the operational work. We manage the contracts of collecting and treating of waste. Nowadays, we can work with chemical waste, health waste, the common waste, recyclable materials, and starting last year, we can give a destination to construction waste. Because it's still missing in the service of our list is composting, the residue from sweeping. It's something that we still weren't able to establish. Our chemical waste, we are talking about to more than 60 labs in the university that utilize chemicals. So we work in the separation. We instruct the departments and units how the separation needs to be done, how they should be stored. They do the identification, a company does the collection, and the destination is still incineration. Regarding health waste, we have units responsible that do the separation, which is very specific of each one. And we do the collecting, we do the weighing, and the company also collects, and we give a destination which is still incineration. The common waste, we try to do monitoring, because even though we try, we still find recyclable material in common waste, but we still follow the collecting, weighing. It's all the management of these contracts. Recyclables, we have the certification of many collecting associations in the city that come to us. We do the internal collecting inside the university, we do the storing, and the solution for storing was solved. We have 6 containers who were rented where we do the weekly storing, and the association comes here and collect this material. The construction waste, we also do the collection through ProInfra. This organ does the collection and we store, and then we follow the collection from the company that is putting this material in an authorized landfill. Regarding the regular waste,
continua ainda tendo que
we still
fazer campanhas de
have to do some
conscientização
awareness
dentro da
campaigns
universidade,
inside the
porque
university,
o ano passado
because
nós recolhemos
last year alone we
87
collected
toneladas de
87
lixo
tons
comum
of common waste
dentro da universidade.
inside of the university.
Poucas pessoas sabem, né?
Very
A gente
few
fica
people
tentando
know,
falar isso em todos os
and
lugares
we
que a gente
try
vai.
to say
Nós
this
somos
everywhere we go.
considerados
We are
grandes
considered
geradores
big
da cidade.
generators by the city.
Grandes geradores têm que
The big
contratar
generators
o
have
recolhimento e
to
nós
hire
pagamos por quilo
the collecting, and we
do
pay
lixo
per
que nós
kilo
recolhemos.
of the regular
Então,
waste that we
nosso
produce.
gasto no
So
ano
our
passado
cost
foi
last
cerca
year
de 120
was
mil
around
reais, que
120,000
poderia estar sendo
reais,
investido
which could
em
be
outras
invested
coisas, outras
in
questões,
other
né,
issues
mais importantes.
which are more
Talvez,
important,
se as
maybe,
pessoas
if
colaborassem
people
mais e a gente
collaborated
conseguisse
more
reduzir
and we could
bastante essa
reduce
quantidade.
significantly
Ali,
this
só para dar uma
amount.
ideia, o ano
Just to
passado,
give an
a gente,
idea,
não faz um ano que a gente recolhe resíduo de obra, mas
Uh,
nós já
it
recolhemos
wasn't a year that we
cerca de
did
1.950
construction waste, but we collected 1,950 cubic meters of construction waste.
Justifica porque eles
It
estavam sendo
justifies
acumulados,
because they
porque nós
were
não
being
tínhamos
collected
contrato,
because we didn't have a
e aí, a partir
contract.
do momento que nós tivemos,
And
a gente
as soon as we had a
começou a medir,
contact, we
né,
started
e recolher
to measure
esse material.
and collect this material.
Aí, só para dar uma ideia
Just to
mesmo
give an
das
idea
quantidades que a
of the
gente
amounts
recolhe,
that we
o nosso
collect,
resíduo químico,
our
ele é
chemical waste
armazenado
is
e
stored
recolhido
and collected
duas vezes ao
twice
ano.
a year.
Então, as unidades geradoras
So
de
the
resíduos
unit
químicos,
that generate
elas
chemical
armazenam
units, they store
esses resíduos
these
e
residues,
nós marcamos uma data, a
and we
empresa vem para
schedule a
recolher,
date, the
tá
company
certo?
comes,
E aí é avaliada a
collects,
quantidade.
and the amount
Nós
is
ainda temos que
evaluated.
trabalhar
We
muito
still
para
have to work a
reduzir
lot
esses resíduos
in
de
reducing
produtos
those
químicos,
residues
né?
of
E
chemical
oscila
waste,
muito,
and it
porque tem
oscillates a
épocas
lot
que as
because
unidades
there
fazem
are times where the
uma
units
limpeza nos seus
do a
almoxarifados.
cleaning in their
E daí,
stocks,
eles acabam
and they
encontrando
end up
alguns materiais
finding
vencidos que têm que ser
expired materials that
descartados.
need to be
Então,
discarded.
oscila muito essa
So it
quantidade.
oscillates a lot, the quantity.
A novidade para a gente e que vai acontecer
New
em
to
breve
us,
é
and
que
it's going to
nós
happen
estamos
soon,
na fase
is
final
that
de
we
uma
are
obra
on the last
construindo almoxarifado central de produtos químicos,
part of an
não é?
or of a construction
Que está sendo
that
projeto
is a
muito
project
cuidado,
that's being taken
projeto
care of.
que, talvez seja uma
It is a
referência
project
depois
that
em
might
termos
be a
de
reference
almoxarifados
in
de
terms
produtos
of
químicos
storing chemical
para o país,
products
porque não
for the
existem
country,
muitos.
because there
E
aren't
nesse
many.
almoxarifado de produtos
And in
químicos, a
this
gente pretende
storage,
centralizar
we
todos os
intend to
produtos,
centralize
retirar das
all of the
unidades
products,
e
take
fazer
them from
uma
the units,
compra unificada.
and make
Para
a
tentar
unified
otimizar
purchase to
essa
try
compra,
and
porque
optimize this
muitas
purchase,
vezes é
because
comprado em excesso,
many times
acaba tendo
we buy in
vencimento
excess,
daquele
we had
produto e
expirations
acaba
of those
acontecendo o
products,
descarte,
and
né?
the
Então,
disposal
a
is
ideia
inevitable. So the
centralizar
idea
isso
is to
para
centralize,
otimizar essas
to
quantidades.
optimize
Com
those
relação aos
quantities.
resíduos de saúde,
Regarding health
eles são
waste,
recolhidos 2 vezes por semana,
those are collected twice a
né?
week.
Nas unidades, óbvio, as
In the
unidades de
units, of
saúde,
course,
né?
the
Nós estamos
health
falando aqui da
units. We are
farmácia,
talking
da
about
odontologia,
pharmacy, odontology,
do Instituto de Ciências
the
Biológicas,
sciences,
e
the
nós
Institute of
temos o
Biological
nosso,
Sciences,
calcanhar de Aquiles,
and we
que
have
é,
our Achilles heel,
o nosso centro de biologia
which
da
is
reprodução.
our Center for
Porque
Reproduction
se vocês olharem
Biology,
ali
because
naquela
if you
tabela,
look at
a
that
quantidade
table,
ali são
the
quantidades por
amount,
quilo,
those are
né?
quantities by kilo.
Nesses anos todos a gente
In
tem em
all
média
those
7
years, we
mil
have
quilos.
7,000
E
kilograms,
isso tudo é a maior
and
parte dele é
most of
atribuído
that
ao
is
material que eles
attributed
usam,
to the material they use,
para colocar nas gaiolas, que é a tal maravalha,
which
né?
is
Um tipo de
maravalha,
serragem
which is
que eles usam
a
pra
kind
isso.
of material that they
E a
use.
gente até teve em alguns eventos e tem
And
uma
we had
restrição
those in some
grande
events, and there is a
pra
big
reaproveitamento da
restriction to
maravalha.
reusing this type of material.
Eles alegam uma contaminação
They
que não é possível
say that
dizer,
there is a contamination that it's
garantir a
impossible
retirada
to
dessa
ensure
contaminação.
the
Então,
removal of this
chega a ser
contamination.
meses que a gente
There are
recolhe uma
months that we
tonelada
collect
de
a
maravalha,
ton of
né,
this
do
material
SBE. Então,
from the Center of
vocês,
Biological
né,
Sciences.
pesquisadores da área de
Researchers
reaproveitamento,
in the
por
area of
favor,
reusing,
se
please
concentrem na maravalha.
concentrate
Ela é
on
um problema
maravalha.
não só aqui,
This is a
ela é
problem
um
not
problema
only
em
here,
todas as
it is a
instituições
problem in
que
every
trabalham com
institution
biotecos,
that work
né?
with
E aí isso
animal
seria achar uma
storage,
solução para
and this is
a
finding a
reutilização,
solution to
reaproveitamento
reuse
dela de alguma forma,
in any way
seja coprocessamento,
that
seria uma
whether it
coisa
is
muito
co-processing, it would be
interessante.
something very, very interesting.
Isso aqui só mostrando as
This is
quantidades
just to
de
show
materiais
the amounts of
materiais
material
recicláveis que a gente tem,
collected,
recolheu
recyclable
no ano de
material that we collected in
2024,
2024.
e nós recolhemos todos esses tipos
We
de
collected
materiais,
all
folders,
these materials,
baterias,
toners,
pilhas,
batteries,
óleo mineral,
mineral
plástico,
oil,
vidro,
plastic,
sucata
glass,
eletrônica.
electronic
Mas o maior
scrap,
destaque,
but the
desse
most
ano foi
important from this
especialmente o
year
papel,
was paper,
porque nós conseguimos,
because
nós
we
temos
were able,
a coordenação de avaliações,
the
aqui, o
coordination of
CAED,
evaluation,
e eles armazenam material de
and they
provas do
store
INEP,
material from
e
tests from
nós
INEP,
conseguimos
and we were
destinar esse
able to
material das
give
provas do INEP
destination
da
from
cidade
those tests from
para
the
as
city
associações de catadores.
to the
Isso
associations
faz
of
com que esse número
collectors.
aí, né, seja desse tamanho
That
aí,
makes this number so big,
1.500 toneladas de
1,500 tons of
papel. E
paper.
aí nós estamos falando de ganho,
We are talking about a gain
ganho para as associações
for
de
the
catadores,
Association
tá
of
certo?
Collectors
Que permite a eles,
that
que
allows
permite,
them
né, reforma de galpões
and
de
allow
armazenamento
them
de material
the
reciclável,
refurbishing of
permitiu,
storehouses.
conserto de caminhões
It
que
allowed
eles
them
precisam pro
fixing
transporte,
trucks for
né? Também tem uma
transportation.
parte que é
There is
destinada,
also a part
obviamente,
that
ao
is
pagamento
designated
dessas
to
famílias que
paying those
fazem esse
families, of
trabalho
course.
com a associação. Então, a gente
So
fica muito feliz
we are
de poder
very
fazer esse
happy to be
trabalho
able to do
e
this sort of
de
work,
ver, né,
and
essa,
also
esse uso
to see this social
social do
use
trabalho que a gente
of
vem
the work
fazendo
we
aqui
have been
dentro da
doing
universidade.
here in the university.
Eu vou falar.
I will say.
Tem outro trabalho que nós
There is
conseguimos fazer
another
desde
work that we were able to
2017,
do since
2018,
2017,
que é
2018.
a manutenção
That's the
e o
maintenance and
reaproveitamento das cadeiras,
reuse of
carteiras.
chairs, desks.
Hoje, o menino que trabalha com a gente acaba
Nowadays,
fazendo
the
também, o conserto de
boy that
persianas.
works with us,
Se precisar,
he's also able to
ele
do
conserta
the
algumas
fixing of
mesas também.
blinds.
Então, nós
If
estamos
need, he
tentando
can
ter
fix
uma
some
oficina de
tables.
manutenção
We're trying to have a
desses
maintenance
móveis, para que eles não
tool shop
sejam
here so
descartados
that those
imediatamente,
furniture are not
né?
disposed
Então, nós
immediately.
temos pouquíssimas pessoas
We
trabalhando
still have
com
very few
isso.
people working
Essas
on
pessoas
that.
aprenderam
Those
a
people
fazer
learned how to
aqui.
do
Nós
this
temos,
work
vocês vão ver os
here.
números daqui a
You're
pouco,
going to see the
mas nós
numbers
temos-
soon, but
nós tínhamos
we
duas
had
pessoas,
2
atualmente
people,
a gente tem
now we
3.
have 3.
Então, é volume muito
So
grande
it's a
de trabalho que
big
aparece
volume
para
of
ser
work
feito,
that needs to be
mas a
done,
gente tá feliz de
but we are
conseguir
very happy
fazer uma
to be
parte
able
dele.
to do part of the work. Those are the quantities that we were able to work with throughout those years. So we are talking about almost 5,000 units among chairs, desks that had parts changed, mechanical parts, seating, and all of that is done by those very few people, so I'm very proud of this work. And those chairs and desks would be disposed of if we weren't doing this recovery. We have our local challenges that remain, and this is something that gives us energy to continue moving forward, because there is a lot to do, and I'm always very happy to come to this event and see that we are not alone in our purposes is something that's very good. We need to reduce all of those types of waste that we have, and we have to work on this matter of reducing, because there is a lot of people, we need to change habits, and this is also something very complicated, but we won't give up. Something else is this training, which is an obligation of the university to train people who are aware of this need. It's not something that is just important, it's something that's fundamental. The need is already urgent, something that we need to think on the development on the planet. We still have some challenges for this disposition. We still weren't able to find a way to dispose our cutting tree residues. We still need to intensify awareness, even inside the university, regarding separation of the recyclable material. We still weren't able to work with the organic waste, which is much more difficult regarding collecting. And in that last part, I'm talking about this preservation, this care that we have with assets that were bought with public money. This is the least we need to do. It's the awareness that the society bring the resources to the university, and our return is to take care of those things that were purchased with our own salary. We are in a public institution, so the society expects from us this difference. I think that we still need to continue talking about this type of thing because it will work eventually. So I brought here because every day we are overwhelmed in the media and social networking by wonderful projects, management systems, we have ESG, we have all of those acronyms. This one astounded me, the B movement. Oh my God, what's that? It is a system that thinks about the well-being of everyone. So the whole time we're having great ideas, amazing projects, and I still have difficulty to understand why can't we have more engagement of the population to be involved, and why people don't have this perception that this is important to each one's lives. What each one does will sum up to all of us. So I just wanted to bring a little bit of what I find. Imagine a 12-year-old thinking on a project. So we will eventually get the next generations are still being educated, more thought towards this, but we still need to help. This is an image that I really like because it says a lot
tratamos o nosso
on
planeta.
how we treat
Então, é
our
uma foto
planet.
que ela
So
aparece
this is
muitas
an image
vezes,
that
mas ela
appears
sempre
many
me
times,
chama a atenção,
but it always
porque
catches my eye because that's
é uma
it.
imagem que
It is an
mostra
image
o que a gente
that
faz.
shows
A
what
gente
we do.
compra demais,
We
acumula
purchase a
demais,
lot, we
joga
accumulate a
fora
lot,
demais,
we
né?
throw away a
E o
lot,
fora, não tem fora, né?
and there is
Já
no
ouvi várias vezes
outside.
essa frase. O fora é aqui mesmo.
The
nosso
outside is
lado,
here,
mas,
maybe
né,
next
não
to
adianta a
us.
gente ir se
We cannot,
distanciando, porque
it
ele
doesn't
vai
matter
chegar
if we
até a gente
distance
uma
ourselves,
hora
it
dessa,
will
né?
eventually reach
E
us.
aí é o seguinte, a nossa
And then
decisão
our
é
decision
saber se a gente quer
is
fazer parte do
know
problema
whether we are part
ou
of the
fazer
problem
parte da
or
solução.
if we are a part of the
Essa é a
solution.
nossa decisão.
This is the
Porque se a gente
decision we
decidir que
have.
nós vamos fazer
Because
parte
if
da
we
solução,
decide that we are part of the
certamente nós
solution,
vamos encontrar um
we will
caminho,
certainly
nós vamos
find a
encontrar
pathway, we
pessoas
will
que
find
querem trabalhar
people
juntas,
who
tá
wish
certo?
to
Pra
work with
promover
us
esse bem
to
comum,
promote
pra
this
promover esse bem-estar, tá
well-being
certo? De
to all
todos
of
nós
us
e do planeta.
and to the planet.
E aí a gente tem os
And then we
desafios
have
gerais,
our
né?
general
Os
challenges,
desafios globais,
the global challenges,
que é a questão da,
which is
da educação,
regarding
né?
education.
E nós estamos particularmente
We are
envolvidos
particularly
nessa questão
involved in
da
that,
educação, a
the part of
educação
education,
sobre preservação
education
da
on
natureza,
nature
preservação
preservation,
dos seres humanos,
the preservation of the human
preservação dos
being,
recursos
the
de patrimônio
preservation
que nós
of
temos,
natural
né?
heritage resources.
Nós temos que mudar os hábitos.
We have to
Nós temos
change
que mudar hábitos de
habits.
consumo.
We have to change
Nós temos
consumption
que,
habits.
nós temos um descaso, né, que é triste.
We don't think too much, and this is sad with
Nós temos uma
things,
preguiça.
and we are
É
lazy.
uma preguiça,
It
né?
is a
Porque muitas pessoas
laziness.
eu ouço falar assim,
Because I hear this from a
eu
lot of
vou ter que
people.
separar
I will have to separate
muito trabalho
this,
separar, eu
but
tenho
it
que
takes
ter
too much of an
vários
effort.
locais pra
I have to have
colocar,
separate
e depois
bins to
porque
put
você
those, and I'm
mesmo
sure that
vai
no one
reciclar
will
o lixo.
recycle it.
Cada se
Each
cada
one,
fizer a
if
sua
each
parte,
one do their part, it will
nós
work.
vamos impor que
We
os
will
outros também
impose
façam.
that
Nós
others
vamos-
do it as well.
Porque muitas vezes
Because many
a
times
culpa cai sobre o poder público.
the blame falls on the
O poder
public
público não faz isso, não
government.
fizeram isso.
Ah, they didn't do this, they didn't do
Nós é
that.
que temos que cobrar desse
We
poder público
have to
que
demand
faça parte deles.
the government to
Mas
do
primeiro nós
that.
temos que
But
fazer a
first,
nossa
we have to
pra
do
mostrar que
our
é
part,
necessário.
because it is
E que nós
necessary,
queremos que
and
seja
that we want it to be done.
Nós não temos incentivos e agora
We do not have
a gente tem
incentives,
notado isso com essa
and
questão
now
do
we have
trabalho
been
com as
noticing
associações
that,
de catadores e
and
tudo mais,
with our work
tem uma
with the
dificuldade
associations of
logística
collectors,
com relação
there is a
a-
logistic
aos
difficulty
recicláveis.
regarding
Nós não
recyclables.
temos incentivos
We don't
para
have
empresas,
incentives to
de
companies
reciclagem.
to
É
recycle.
muito impressionante
It is
porque,
impressive.
né, eu tô lá no almoxarifado,
I am
comprando
working
material
in
para
storage,
universidade.
purchasing
A
material for the
dificuldade de
university.
comprar copo
The difficulty of
papel
purchasing a
des-
paper cup,
reciclável
a recyclable
enorme.
paper cup, it's
Por quê?
huge.
Porque o copo plástico
Because
que não é
the plastic
reciclável
cup
custa
that's not
pelo
recyclable
menos 20
costs
vezes
at least
menos.
20 times less.
E aí,
And
o que
then
acontece?
what
Por que
happens?
as empresas que
Why
continuam? Porque nós
companies?
reclamamos do
Because we
plástico o tempo
complain about
inteiro.
plastic all the
Porque
time.
o plástico tá no
Because
oceano, o
plastic is in
plástico
the
tá no
ocean,
ar, o
there's
plástico-
plastic in the
Só
air,
que nós continuamos
but we
produzindo
still
em
keep
larga
producing
escala os plásticos
plastic
que
in
não
large
são
scale that are
recicláveis.
not recyclable,
E é muito barato
and it's
produzir isso.
very cheap to
Por que que
produce
eles não
that.
estão taxados
Why aren't they
por
taxed
produzir plásticos
for
não
producing
recicláveis?
non-recyclable plastics? Why?
Por que que eles não mudam a
Why don't
produção
they
deles
change
pra
their
produzir
production to
alguma coisa que
produce
seja melhor pro
something
meio ambiente?
that's better for the
Por
environment?
que que as empresas que
Why
produzem
companies
os
that
os
produce
materiais
those
recicláveis não
recyclable
são
materials are not
incentivadas?
incentivized?
Então, assim, nós temos, obviamente,
Well,
problema
we
de política
obviously
nacional,
have
uma política de
a
Estado, uma
major
política
policy, a state
nacional,
policy, a
mas
national
ela tem que-
policy,
ela tem que chegar lá.
but it needs to
Nós
get
temos que
there.
fazer isso aí
We
chegar lá.
need to make this get
E,
there.
nós não temos, por exemplo,
We do not have, for
regulamentação
example,
do trabalho das
a
associações de
regulamentation
catadores,
of the
catadores
work
de rua.
of the Collectors
Por que não?
Association. Why
São
not?
eles que fazem a maior
Those are
parte do
the ones that
trabalho.
do most
É
of the work.
trabalho essencial.
It is an
E
essential
eles
work,
não são,
and they are
tá
not
certo? Contratados para fazer esse
hired to
trabalho.
do that.
E não existe isso.
There is,
E é uma
this
coisa-
doesn't exist.
Tudo bem, eu não sou, né, administradora pública,
I'm not a
mas
public
eu acho que falta
gesture,
uma
but
vontade.
I feel that there is a lack of will for this to happen. And in the end, the worst of that, in my opinion, and the most difficult, is that we need to humanize humanity.
Porque a gente está ficando muito superficial.
We are becoming very
Ficando
shallow.
muito fútil,
We are becoming
tá certo?
shallow.
A gente está vendo atrocidades
We are
acontecendo
seeing
pelo mundo inteiro e a gente consegue
Horrible
ignorar
things
isso,
happening in the world, and we
Assim que eu
can
tô
sleep
falando,
at night.
as
I'm
outras
not
pessoas
saying that
fazem
other
isso.
people do that.
Né?
I
Também me sinto
I
meio incapaz,
also
mas
feel
eu acho que a gente
incapable,
tem
but I
que
believe that
trabalhar
we need
nessa
to
direção.
work in that direction.
E aí, mais alguns
And so here are
exemplos que
some
a gente
other
encontra,
examples that we find
o tempo inteiro
all the
falando
time,
que a
talking
gente
about
pode fazer,
what we can do
que nós precisamos
and
nos juntar para fazer mais,
so that we
né?
can get
Nós
together
perdemos
to
aí o
do more.
Sebastião Salgado,
We lost Sebastião Salgado this
e
week,
uma das frases dele tá ali,
and
né?
one of his
Não podemos ser apenas
sentences, we cannot be
espectadores
just
da
spectators
destruição.
of destruction.
Precisamos ser
We need
agentes
to
da
be
mudança.
agents of
E ao
change.
lado, mostrando que ele não
And
só
next to
falou,
it,
mas ele
something
fez.
that not that he
Uma área
didn't
que é a área dele,
just said
né,
that,
de
but
uma
he also did
fazenda,
that. This is an
onde
area of one of
era
his farms
totalmente
where in
desmatada,
2022 it
e
was
em
completely
2024,
deforested.
né,
In
ela tá
2024,
totalmente
it is
recuperada
completely
e
recovered
reflorestada.
and
Então,
reforested.
os exemplos
So the
existem,
examples
as
exist,
ideias
the
existem,
ideas exist.
nós temos que
We
acreditar
have to
que
believe
nós podemos
that
fazer pouquinho
we
a
can
cada
do
dia
something
por essa
every
mudança que
day
é
for this
necessária.
change that's necessary.
E agora, esse vídeo é um vídeo
This
mais
video
antigo.
is an older
É
video.
vídeo que é falado
It is
em
a video
bom
that's
mineirês,
spoken in very good
Então,
Mineirês,
mas eu acho que é uma mensagem,
but I
e
think
é
it's a
uma
message
mensagem,
that
feita com uma certa
is a message
informalidade,
done with
mas ela
an
traz
informality,
muitas
but it also
questões que
brings
são muito
many
sérias,
questions that are
né?
very
Falado
serious.
de jeito que é bem
It's something,
tranquilo
it is
pra
said
gente
in a way
entender.
that's
Então,
very
vídeo que eu
simple
gosto
for us to
muito.
understand. It's a video that I enjoy a lot.
Eu tava aqui
I
pensando
was
com
here
meus botão.
thinking to myself,
Desabafando. Essa vida da
this life of
gente é
ours
come coisa,
is
é
and eat
suja e
something,
lava.
is a
Olha, você
dirty
vê
and clean, and then
semana
you
do
see
meio ambiente.
environmental
As pessoas
week.
sujam muito mais
People
que limpam.
clean much
Por isso
dirty
que
much
nunca
more than
fica
they
limpo.
clean. That's why it's never clean.
As pessoas ficam falando.
People
"Mãe
keep
natureza
saying
pra
Mother
cá, mãe
Nature
natureza
here,
pra
Mother
lá."
Nature there.
Mas isso é jeito de
Is
tratar
this a way
mãe?
to treat a mother?
Se a natureza é a
If
nossa
nature
mãe,
is our
o
mother,
planeta é a nossa
the
casa.
planet is
E
our
tá tudo
home,
ficando entulhado
and
de lixo.
everything is full of trash.
Falar em lixo, coisinha.
Talking about trash,
Você conhece o seu
do
lixo?
you know your own trash?
Você sabe o que tá lá
Do you
dentro?
know what's in there?
Você tá pelo menos separando
Do you
seco
are you
e
at
molhado,
least
ou ainda tá
separating
ponhando tudo misturado?
dry from
Por
wet?
isso que eu tô falando.
That's
que
why
precisa
I'm
melhorar
saying that
muito
we need
ainda
to
pra
improve
ficar
a
ruim.
lot
Nós
to
tá
get
muito
bad
atrasado
because
nisso
we are
aí, não é?
very late on
Eu
this
já tenho
thing.
meu método, minha filha.
I already have my
Eu
methods.
separo uma
I
caixa
separate
assim,
a
vou
box
ponhando
and
todas as
I
embalagens
put
desses trem que a
all
gente
of the
compra,
packages
vai
of these
virar
things that we
lixo.
buy that
E
turn
lá
into
só
trash,
vai tá
and
caçando o
it
lixo
only
molhado da
goes
cozinha e o lixo
to the
do
trash,
vaso
the
misturado.
wet
Depois eu vou
trash
lá
that we
nessa caixa
have.
e nós separamos
So
o que
when
resiste.
we look in this
Mas
box and we
isso é
separate what's
pouco, minha
necessary,
filha.
but this is
E nós
not
tem que
enough.
aprender
What we need to learn is reduce, buy less things that produce trash, because then all of the whole trash diminishes. We need to be aware, because the whole world doesn't have a logic, and we need to have we need to be ecologic. This kind of person saves water, saves energy, saves on waste. But there are a lot of people that waste. Everything for them must be a lot. They destroy, and they don't even think about the problem that this thing is turning, this trash problem in the whole planet. We and the planet, we are made of the same things.
Eu tô antroposófica, minha filha. E isso eu
I
sei.
am philosophing,
Ela não
and
é pra
this
nós.
means that nature is not to us, it is a part of us.
Por isso que a gente
That's
tem
why
que ter
we
consciência.
need to be aware.
O mundo tá sem lógica.
The world doesn't have a
Nós tem
logic,
que ser
and
ecológico.
we need to have
Vai
a logic.
explodir tudo.
Otherwise, everything will blow up.
Acabou.
That's it.
Então, é isso, o desafio está colocado.
So
né?
the challenge
E aí
is
a decisão é de
presented.
cada um,
Now
né?
the decision is
Pra gente,
individual,
cada dia, fazer
so that
alguma coisa
every day
pra,
we do something
o bem comum.
for the well-being of all.
E aí eu vou aproveitar,
And I'm
né,
going
esse
to take
espaço
the
aqui pra
chance
convidar vocês
to
pra
invite you
participar
all
da
to
atividade que a gente
participate
tá
in
tendo
the
aí na
activity
Praça
we are
Cívica
having
da universidade,
here
nós, em
in the
celebração
university,
do Dia do Meio Ambiente.
celebrating
Nós
the
estamos
Environment
fazendo
Day.
várias
We are doing a lot of
vários
activities,
projetos de
many
extensão da
projects
universidade
here from the
estão
university
relacionados com
that
o
are
meio
related
ambiente,
to the
com,
environment,
sustentabilidade,
who are related to
sustentável,
sustainability, sustainable
estão sendo
development.
apresentados lá no
Those
Praça
projects are
Cívica.
being
Nós temos também
presented
as associações de catadores que
here
vieram,
in the square.
estão
We
aí
have
conversando com
associations
as
of
pessoas sobre o
collectors who are
trabalho
talking to
delas.
people about
Nós
their
temos
work.
a feira, uma
We
feira de
also
produtos
have a
artesanais,
fair of
e são das
handcraft
cooperativas de
products
Juiz de
who are from
Fora.
the
Então, nós
cooperatives
estamos
from the
integrando,
city. So we are
vários setores da
integrating
universidade,
many
a
sectors of the
Intercoop,
university,
o Jardim
Intercoop,
Botânico tá
the
aí,
Botanical
né?
Garden,
E nós também temos uma parceria
and we
hoje
also have a
com o
partnership
IEF,
today
né?
with
Que trouxe mudas pra
IEF
doação.
that
Então,
brought seeds
tá
to
sendo
donate.
sucesso lá, todo
It
mundo
is
vem
a
ver
huge
as
success.
mudas do
Everyone
IEF.
wants
Então, a
those.
gente tá com essas atividades
So we
até
have
às
those
4 horas da
activities until
tarde.
4
Se
p.m.
vocês,
So if
puderem
you want to
participar,
participate,
eu acho que vai ser
I
muito
think it
legal.
would be very good.
Essa é minha equipe,
This is
a
my
equipe
team,
Nota 1000,
which is a
tudo que eu
team
falei aqui, né?
Grade
Quem faz o trabalho
1000.
são
Everything
eles,
that I spoke
e é
here,
uma
they
equipe
do the
que
work.
tá pronta
It is a
todo
team
instante
that is
pra qualquer
pronto
coisa que
all the
seja,
time to do anything
necessário.
that's
E
necessary.
aí, antes de encerrar, eu
Before
tem
finishing,
uma frase que eu acabei ouvindo e me
I
lembrando
listened to a
essa
sentence and it
semana,
reminded me
que eu
this
acho
week
que ela
that I
ainda é
think
muito
it is
importante
still
pra nós.
very important to
Quem
us.
sabe, faz a hora, não espera acontecer.
Those who know do now, they don't expect, they don't wait to do it. Thank you.
Era isso.
Muito obrigada, professora Rosana.
Thank you very much,
Foi
Professor.
excelente. Com certeza nos fará refletir muito.
It will make us reflect a
E
lot.
perguntas, pessoal?
Questions?
Uma pergunta?
Any questions?
Não?
Com fome.
Eu não tô com fome.
No, everyone is hungry.
Então, em nome da comissão
So, in the name
organizadora,
of the
agradecemos.
organizing committee, we
Eu agradeço
thank
muito a
you. I
oportunidade
thank
da
you
divulgação
all
do
for the
nosso trabalho.
opportunity to show our work. Thank you.
E a mostra está acontecendo paralelamente aqui, né, na Praça Cívica.
And the
Quem
exposition is
quiser
happening here
assistir.
in the square. For anyone who wants to visit, thank you very much.
Vou aproveitar para dar um aviso, pedir que
I will
puder
tell you
fazer
all,
essa
those who
pesquisa
can
de
do the
percepção,
survey
tem um QR Code aqui
of
atrás.
perception.
Vocês falaram,
There is a
né,
QR
sobre
code
esse
behind
projeto
here
do
to
Congresso,
say
também nos
what
ajuda
you are
bastante.
seeing, what you think
Obrigada.
of the Congress. Thank you.